Welcome, it's the Crypto Sniper. How are you guys doing? Yep, an update on Bitcoin, an update on Ethereum. Yes, but the main thrust of our check-in with you today will be around that which they call a token that we've covered before and that many are wondering, can it be the miracle to faster transaction processing because of everything that's supposedly too slow on Bitcoin and other chains? Yes, it's one we've covered before a couple of times. Let's go have a look at our YouTube channel up here. We are talking about the Hbar. Technically, we are talking about the Hbar. A key triggering event happened yesterday. We would have had a video out yesterday, but due to some technical delays, it's coming at you today. But a key technical event happened yesterday. We will be showing you why this particular token could in fact be overperforming relative to the other tokens that are still going to be doing well themselves. We are in a larger bull market and we are in a period where the alts are starting to wake up. We've had a very distinct Bitcoin dominance to the early stage. It's always like that in bull markets. Bitcoin must lead. And there could in fact be a real case made for an alt strong market. So which one should you be in? And that is where HVF method and our relative value assessment, the dominance charts, or a particular alt compared to Bitcoin are great ways to see who is technically set up next to outperform relative to the others. You want the one that's going to give you the highest X. Remember, the ultimate maximization on the upside and then avoiding the give back at the top to the same scale as you've done before is going to be the difference about how we make you millionaires this crypto bull market. Who wants that? Put your hand up, hit the like button is how you put the hand up. Okay, so a bit of coverage we've done for a while actually on Hbar. It's not just one video. A month ago, we're getting about 9K views. It's in and around the 9K side. It started to creep a little bit higher from 2.4 to 7.3, going up to 9K more recently. That was going into Christmas, New Year, roughly around a month ago. I'd say it's probably heading for 6 weeks now. But let's go and have a look first, before we go to Hbar, with the big B that is Bitcoin and talk about that. We have to tell you, we forgot something slightly and we dropped a catch in a way in terms of a number of things on Bitcoin. So I will say we didn't get it 100% right. We took our target, yes indeed. Let's get that 47.5, that key level that is so significant. I want it in the right color. Let's wipe that one out the way. So we're running all the way through here, just a touch below the 48, which is the 47.5. That was our legacy. You've covered this so many times, Francis, so we don't have to spend too long there. That was the dip that ended up running to 29 from a 64 high, a more than 50% fall. You're probably looking at 55%, potentially even more. But something we missed on our lower time frame analysis in here, we were in here and talking to you, that's right, and we're going to drop down there in a minute. But something we missed is that if that particular performance ran as far as it could do, it could in fact trigger the 47.5 to the upside, which was part and parcel of a $145,000 call. And unlike Max Kaiser, we do not throw out 400,000s and various things. It's the first call we've ever made with a number that is through 100,000. That is essentially a 6-digit call, and it's technically justified. And we said to you, this is a left shoulder and a right shoulder, and in a different color because we should, is a big bear market inverted head. That's right, a big bear market inverted head. Let's go a little bit along, a little bit more, and then cut up across there. And the 47.5, just there tucked under the 48, is a key level of significance from that reversal at the 64K that ran all the way through. It also set up on the way down, which we identified kind of early in the bear market, a bear flag over there. You can see that interaction again, dying at the 47.5. We make that case on the 47.5 so many times, legacy-wise, why it was significant. And you continue to see big down sell leg. That was all part of the bear narrative. We've covered that. So what does this mean? Well, yesterday, we're on a 3-day chart now. Yesterday seems quite a long time ago, but in actual fact, you ran past that previous high round about there, and the follow through on that moment did represent a triggering event of this reversal pattern. So Hbar triggered yesterday, Bitcoin potentially triggered, as you can see, quite a few more days before. So I don't want to get the two conflated there. So when were we that day? We're on the 3-day chart. That was during the week of February, Friday 09, and that was, the breakout candle was 15. So it was between the week of 09 and 15, one of those magical days. We can look at it on the daily, but I first wanted to give you the macro view. And this has a projected target to the upside and is a cyclical reversal. So we're going to be talking about quite a few cyclical reversals. What does that actually mean when someone says a cyclical reversal? What it means is an end of negative cycle into a very clear long-term upside cycle. Now, everything's a bit shorter in crypto. It's not like the lumbering old bond market or the equity markets, but it is still a cycle change. So that was a low that ran at 15, and you are going to not only potentially make the target, which we'll be discussing again in a minute when I switch all the lights on and you see it. It'll be a bit confusing to see. But you can, because of the cyclical nature, get overperformance to that. So in a number of places, for example, I just did a video on Hex for the Hexicans, 51 cent was their high, and we said, you know, we had a neckline in and around 37 cents. We said it's going to fall to a following level. We had a target roughly around, you know, the low teens or mid-teens, but we said because of the cyclical nature, I'm actually going to forecast you trading below 1 cent. So you're going to run that target. Sure, you'll have a bounce and a rally, but once that wears off, you're going to go significantly longer because you are in a seminal new trend to the downside. That was a period a while ago. And in the same sense, going to the upside, not only can you make that target, but you can have overperformance. So the good thing about proper head and shoulders that are on big time frames, it's a pretty big time frame chart. It's basically capturing the bulk of the bear market and the early stage of a new bull that we've been biased to for quite a while now. And as a result of that, you're going to get a potential overperformance. It comes with a bonus, a lottery ticket, once you pass the target, that you can still go higher and further. So that's where the 145,000 has come from us for a target perspective, and we would expect some degree of rest thereafter. However, you could possibly go higher, which could end up making some of the guys throwing out big numbers honest in the end. So let's just turn that light on and see where that target was. 145, all the 8s, 3 fat ladies in a row sitting there. Very nice, very nice. We like all those curves. So this was a slightly sketchy draw, which we've drafted for you. There's the 47.5 in light blue. There's your projection. There's your neckline. There's everything. Now I wanted to take you back in there where we were talking about the little pocket reversal of that right shoulder. And that's where we got so into the weeds on the lower time frame that we forgot to mention that in triggering that, you had also triggered the 47.5, and that means you get a run on into the next pattern, which could be very bullish. A run on into the next pattern that could have been very bullish. So I went kind of defensive in my leveraged hands. I have investment, which is long-term holder, but I put on some leverage to enjoy this trade. And actually we messed up by focusing on that. We should have this all the way. Instead of a 1:9, you guessed it, all the way. It turns into a much longer trade, by the way, up to there. That could be, wait for it, 1:172. When last did you land one of those? Not every day, is it? So we should have left on some residual. So we blew that a little bit by forgetting about the nature. Let's go back. We are in log scale. Regular scale will be even more extreme. Look at that. So log scale gives it to you. So I'm gonna just let that go a little bit and point out where you are now. Is all lost is all lost. Well, this triggering event happened at that point. That is the end of this orange line. That's the right shoulder of that much bigger time frame. We dropped from the 3-day to the 4-hour. But actually, you may well be getting a gift to enter here. Lovely people. A gift to enter here that could see Bitcoin doing very well, but could also see it more joined by some of the alts that we'll be discussing in an equal sense. So when Bitcoin's done well, it's been a bit honey badger good, and it's hoovered up all the honey. But there may be a bit more alt action conjoined with it on this particular occasion, so you could be well served to have a bit of both. So if this is to go up and over, pause, and then run, we could see a great move. You might have a little bit of a reaction at the 55K. We've got some key levels from there. And then you're going to start getting into quite a lot of open territory. The legacy highs, 64 and 69. And then everybody's going to be, woo! It's going to be all fun and games. Minting new wealthy kiddies and gents. And ladies. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's move on to the other tokens. We also spoke of Ethereum. And Ethereum actually has been slightly overperforming Bitcoin more recently. So Bitcoin hasn't made a new high. That's when they were there. Ethereum has. So we highlighted the ETH euro because of a particular pattern element that didn't occur on the euro, that did occur on the dollar, that invalidated the dollar option. So most of us get freaked out by that because we all just dollar. But that gives you target 3232. And again, pull back, but first in a new setup. So there's a lot of overperformance coming now because you early stage. First, the beginning of the bull market has happened. We're now getting into the meaty part, in my opinion, and it should be very beneficial. Being part of our community to maximize that out and also to lock in close to the tops and not draw down 90% of everything you made is going to be central to making you a millionaire during this Bitcoin and crypto bull market. If you want to know more, click that first link below and make sure you're a maximizer and you keep it. And that is our sole focus. So how did we find Hbar, which we'll be coming to soon? By looking at tokens relative to other tokens or its dominance relative to the general pack of crypto, or comparing it also to BTC. BTC having been in its honey badger phase, it's been very tough to keep up. We actually have one token that you'll not be hearing about today that actually has done decidedly well despite Bitcoin's dominance, which has seen it and held up and is in a very good structure there. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So Ethereum, great move up. We're looking for the 3.2. And as I highlight, in terms of dollar, we're at about 1.07 on the euro. So let's just clear that up. 1.07. So sometimes you can set the euro target, providing we don't get major moves on the currency markets in between now and then. You're not a million miles away. We said this some time ago when you could have had Ethereum for 1.7. Now you're at 2.7. That you're going to go to the 3,232 mark. If you multiply that, what will it be in dollar terms? Yeah, I would probably take some profits off. Again, that overperformance, you don't want to take too much, but you may get a reaction and a pullback and a little bit of adverse noise. So you're looking more at the 3,500 zone, 3,460, 3,5 on the dollar. Dependent, and there's a little bit of wiggle there. Currencies might move. Maybe the euro loses a bit and we drop to 104. Maybe it goes, it goes up to 109. But given where we're at and how we're moving, I don't think the currency effect is going to be too particularly large. So 3.5 would be a realistic target for a rest point. And as I've already mentioned, I wouldn't close the full position. So that's a little bit of an update on Ethereum that we'd also given you. I didn't show you that in the YouTubes, but we showed this structure on Ethereum. So yeah, you can see it on the $2.9. So 3.5 is going to be in and around there, and it looks about the same amount. Don't forget, quite interestingly, if we're looking here on the Ethereum dollar, is that 3.5 is at a very interesting level. Again, that's the apex of its flag. Now, I want to highlight that Bitcoin had a reaction. This was 47,500. That's blue line that I keep drawing and keep telling you about for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin broke and is ahead of that. That's why Bitcoin is dominant. Ethereum is actually in a catch-up mode, but it will potentially catch up and do more now. Hence why you start with Bitcoin and roll into the alts later with every bull market. And the ETF sure as hell didn't change that in happening. So again, the 3.5 will be a point of rest, but it won't be the final rest. Just like Bitcoin, you may get a little bit of a dip and a shoulder, and you may get for yourself a inverted head and shoulder for Ethereum on the euro, where that's a left shoulder, you get a new right shoulder, and of course this turns into your lengthy bear market head. So keep your eyes open for that particular one. It may well be coming to you. So I think we're done with Ethereum. Let's talk about the man of the moment, Hbar. So let's run him through here. What time frame are we again on the 3 days? I wanted to get you the macro, a little bit of a look into the macro first. So marginally higher high, a bit of a grind line. This was end of the bear. So this was a nice falling wedge. You trade the breakout, you go long, had a bit of a blow off moment where you made a marginally high high, got a proper slap in the face and got a bit grindy there. And then you broke that bagel down, down, down. It was never the same. You sat on that ledge over there, interesting level, which we've observed. And that level, which surprisingly enough, or unsurprisingly enough, is our upside target that we are projecting for the Hbar. We gave you this one when it was over here. It was around about year end, December going into January, which is why it's roughly a month old, and said if we right shoulder down for Hbar, you will be finishing this left shoulder W bottom complex head and shoulders. Follow and click our link below to learn more about how we understand complexity in head and shoulders and W bottoms and how they merge together and you get the best of both, how we trade that, and watch us implement it in many instances. We're giving you a small heads up here. You can see you get a very sharp left buttock on your W bottom and a far more rounded one, which points to reduction in volatility and more basing, which is a great progression from a sharp sell-off and a snap back up. Note that it kisses the blue line, the blue line, the blue line, the teal blue line. We've got it at 0.098 because that was the technical high of that wick and what was going on there. We couldn't push it any higher, but I will highlight that this is also about the key round number of 0.1, which we were discussing yesterday while it was happening here in 8, and we put the whole community into a buy on Hbar yesterday and previously as well. And as this has turned, you then got an explosive. It almost felt like just after we'd done that video, it started to really run. Delusions of grandeur. I have no idea. We may have billionaires in our community member. We do have a few hedge funds, etc. But I think it was more just a case of you're coming up to that key 0.1 level and you get voids and vacuums, as we've explained before on the volume theory, and you'll get a lot of sellers at 0.1, and once people are not selling, you'll get very little sellers at 9.99, 0.99, 0.98, 0.97. So you get a dearth of bid, of offer, I mean, just before the one. So you get sucked up to the one really fast. Then you get a splurge of orders, but because you've got that momentum, you're smashing through it. Everybody sees the momentum and the FOMO chases. You smash through the one and you have that big up leg, and then others see that and they all chase and you get a bit of a runaway trade. And you've had that effect. That's why you're probably getting a small amount of wick. Well, I'm glad to say all our community is in well below 0.1 in terms of where the market was. There'll be 8s and low 9s, but you could be getting in still at a reasonable price. It's quite possible it comes right the way back to the neckline. Remember the return move. But the generated target at 0.027 is about 2.7 times. Basically, if you're at 10, you were a little above, so maybe at 2.5 now, but we were closer to 3x on this one. Not a huge significance more. Often with our earlier entries inside the community, we're getting a lot better multiples than by the time we mention it here, and we don't discuss all of them. By the way, when you're in the community, you get everyday updates with the detail and the order entries and stop losses where I'm utilizing them clearly explained. as and when before the event, not after a triggering event like now. Despite this, 0.27 is a great move, but what else have we got for you? Well, we took Hbar and we looked at it from a perspective of its overall dominance. And this was a community member that reminded us to go back and have a look at that. And you've got that particular structure suggesting a breakout as well, which took place. Now, when we were getting involved, it was here and just starting to move up. We already got involved a month ago. As I mentioned, we took investment positions, but we knew that we were waiting for a right shoulder. So we kind of had low bids and speculative accumulates on the investment positions, some of which got filled. And now we're in this is going to start happening. So Hbar is at a triggering event level where it's going to start happening. And that little fractal is quite nice. It's a decent time frame. It's 2 days. And you can see it right there, a little bit of a double bounce there. You got your third high, and we're in, and we're in, and you've actually run that third high as well. So it is now indicating that it's likely to overperform relative to the others. And a small tool that we use to see how it'll overperform. This tool we'll probably be making available to our community members in due course once it's finished all forms of testing. You've seen me use it before potentially. Hbar dominance, Hbar. So here we are with our draw tool. As I said, probably make available to our community members not too distant future. And that is where we see it going in just this small fractal. By the way, there is of course a far larger up leg move that has taken place along these levels in advance of that. So this is the most conservative. There's actually a bigger structure within that could allow Hbar to substantially overperform the others. And if you have a look at its percentage relative to the rest of the market cap, when we were getting it was around 16. It's currently at 0.19%, so it's a tenth of a 19% there, and it would go up to 0.38. So for us, that represents at least a doubling. At 19, it's exactly a doubling in terms of its relative performance to the others. Of course, that's going to imply Bitcoin being a large part of what it's being compared to. So that probably points to a bigger alt market than Bitcoin is able to sustain in growth. And of course, Ethereum. But this is a clear leader that has good liquidity, is not micro cap. Many people often fishing in the basement of, number 347 to try get a 30x or a 40x or a 100x, etc. It's very dangerous, and you need to be able to get out. And you don't know much about the founders, and anybody could have listed that token. So that's a little bit of news on Hbar. Why? The dominance is great, is going to perpetually is suggesting that it is going to have a sustained overperformance in dominance relative to the other tokens. The structure on the macro, the bigger time frame, when we go back to, this is on the 3-day, is large and very clear. We can also take a wee peek in the 4-hour just to see how it's gone. You can see that squirt. It was really weird for us because as we were getting in, it just kept going and kept going and kept going and pumping. But you've got to remember that once you get a little bit of momentum and everybody is alt aware, they all go, this one's moving today, chase in. And this is the FOMO brigade often. And then you get a bit of a blow off spike, then you get a bit of a slap in the face, and a bit of leverage gets washed out from people that don't know any better. So we'd like to suggest and hope that you're not part of that. I think that's all I have for you on the Hbar side. So Bitcoin looking good. Will it squeeze and give us a wind up? Ethereum has got a target to make, and it's got to get to the top of that flag where it might have a little bit of a pullback, but there's more. Everything is suggesting an overperformance element where we have mentioned targets. So targets are not tops in this instance, given where we are in the bull market. Please understand that. However, you can get pullbacks, just like the 47.5 was an area for Bitcoin, and you did get a pullback. There you saw it 3 times, and you pulled all the way back to 38. What we dropped by getting reducing leverage over there was that actually we triggered the next pattern, which is very uncommon with me, and so we got it wrong. This looks encouraging personally, and I think you could get a nice little break and you could pop up to the 55s maybe as your next move. Anyway, enjoy the bull market. If you really want to maximize and come out a millionaire after the bull market with the bear already in a way, and yes, there will be bear markets again, there will be sell-offs, we will see it first in the charts, and you will retain far more than you've ever done before. Plus you'll be in the biggest flyers during this that are both liquid and not easily manipulated, relative to micro caps. At least I suppose everything can be manipulated to a degree. And we have a couple of other tokens that are very liquid, that are in the top 15, that are going to be outperformers, in fact top 20. So you could find out what those are by clicking the link below and booking a call. Till next time, thank you for watching. Give us a share and a like, and enjoy, and let's see how Hbar does. Bye for now.